Hey there. In this episode, we're going to be talking about how we first see the world and how it affects us, and probably most importantly, why our sense of touch is so darned important to our art. Our sense of touch wraps itself around everything we do in our art, no matter what our medium or our art style. This information will forever change your own understanding of the why things may not look real, no matter how detailed you've painted or drawn your art. Stick with me.
I'm with you.
We're going to be racing through some important information. The world a child grows up in revolves around their sense of touch more than their sense of sight. They draw the shape they feel more than the shape they see. Ask a child to draw a head, and it will look something like this. It's a round circle.
Sometimes not even round, but I get the point.
Okay. Well, he thinks of the head as something that's enclosed. It's a finite thing, instantly thought of and interpreted as a line. Next, they may add hair, which is often drawn as a little row of short lines coming out from the boundary line of the circle. Eyes are thought of as two dots or circles or points within circles. Moving along the nose, children usually draw it as a capital L, or as a triangle. If you put your finger and run it down the ridge of your primate nose to the base of your primate nose, it feels like a capital L shape. But when you run your fingers along the outside of the nose, then along and underneath the nose, the three sides add up to a triangle, so either one may do. The mouth is a row of teeth, and usually they are showing the teeth. The teeth are usually shown, I think, because people, especially children, key in on the mouth for mood. You can always feel the teeth by simply pressing on the lips. This is probably a pretty fair assessment of the first sorts of drawings which a child makes of a person. There are drawings from 13th century Russia by a little boy named Anfim, who was 6 or 7 at the time. This kid apparently didn't like his instructor much and doodled on his homework. Thankfully, his drawings were on soft birch bark, and they were preserved in the clay soil of Novgorod. So we can see that the earliest drawings haven't changed. Looking at my own childhood drawings, and those of my children, they were quite similar to this. It's remarkable to me that this seems to be a nearly universal constant, and so similar between different cultures and across time. It's really amazing, the first attempt at drawing that vision isn't really consulted. In the show notes below, check out Tommy Edison at the Tommy Edison Experience channel. He's blind and an amazing person. I love watching his channel. In his episode, Can a Blind Person Draw? A cat, a car, and himself, he draws a self-portrait. As he creates his drawing, he speaks about how he thinks about the different parts of the face, circles for eyes, the nose is triangular, the teeth, etc. All his senses are all about touch, and he uses the same feature set in the same way as childhood preliminary drawing. This boundary of where flesh meets air is so completely understood only by his sense of touch. If the sense of vision was actually used to draw a face, the first drawing of a person might be more like this. There are shadows under the nose, the mouth, and the chin, with a dark mass of hair massed together. Even though this is easy to do, it doesn't appeal to most children because it doesn't satisfy that sense of touch, something which figures so predominantly in their experience.
It's pretty interesting that our use of vision is really a secondary sense and used as a utilitarian than rather for its own sake. Well, think about it this way, at least how I think about it. How many times have you heard, I have to touch it before it was really real to you?
Yeah, true. We look at the sky and check for rain rather than stop and notice the difference of how the clouds are almost pure white above us and lead to a white with a touch of yellow and pink towards the horizon. If you stop and stare at the sky, someone would think you're looking at a helicopter or an airplane rather than the beautiful forms of the clouds. For many people, the clouds are nothing but dust and water vapor and might bring rain. This explains how some truly good paintings are overlooked by the majority of people. Only when the objects in our paintings can suggest other associations that they understand things at all. There's a poetry to describing things on a two-dimensional surface, and finding that art and that poetry can be ever so difficult. Painting everything to its complete description, every leaf, every blade of grass, leads to an excessive finish, as it's called. When everything is described equally, nothing in your work can stand out, and so everything is equally important in the painting. Finish in art has not a thing to do with the amount of detail in a picture, but refers only to the completeness that the emotional idea the painter set out to express has been realized. That was worth repeating, because I didn't say it well. Finish has to do with the completeness of an idea and not detail. The visual world most people walk around in is blind to all the beauty and interest nature is offering up to them. It's really sad. They don't see past the area of the road in front of them. In a big city or a small town, there's a music of color and form to enjoy. It's the privilege of the artist to show the symphony of light and a structure of wind and temperature to those who can only use their vision for scrolling through the internet. It's one of the best arguments in favor of making art a subject of general education, that it should teach people to see. Not everyone needs to draw and paint, but if everybody gained the ability to appreciate the form and color they see as form and color, just think how much they could get out of their experiences.
Winter would be so much more enjoyable for a vast majority of people.
To notice the nuance of light on their children, how their partner's skin almost radiates light in the sunshine, to appreciate life and the goodness around them. Hey, to sum up a couple of episodes, we've tried to show there are two ways the world around us can be understood. There's a world which is based around the sense of touch, and there's an outline representing their boundaries in space. On the opposite end of the spectrum would be the point of pure vision, the mosaic of color that hits our eyes. These two views are both correct, and they are intimately connected. You can't put an accurate outline around an object without observing the shape it occupies in space. It's just as difficult to think about the mosaic of color forms without being conscious of the object and the significance of the color masses. These present two entirely and different approaches to which creating a picture can be approached. It's probably necessary to consider each approach separately. We can call the first approach line drawing and the second approach mass drawing. Most drawing is a mixture of the two, but when you're studying them, they should be studied separately so confusion can be avoided. Hey, if you've gotten some good information in this episode, if it's of value to you,
If you liked it, if you didn't like it, and you just want to watch more things you hate. I'm sorry, thumbs are you're asking apes to tell you thumbs up.
yeah,
Just
thumbs
saying.
up or thumbs down if you didn't like it.
All right. If you like this video, or you thought you learned something important and you'd like to learn more, we have plenty more videos where we talk about these subjects in depth. If you subscribe and hit that bell button, you'll be notified about all our upcoming videos.
Appreciate you being here. See ya.
See ya.